Hafaday, good afternoon. The Committee on Health, Economic Development, Homeland Security, and Senior Citizen now convenes this public this public hearing. Public hearing notices were provided. First notice on Friday, March 11th, and second notice on Tuesday, March 15. For the record, today's Friday, March 18, and the time now is 2:01 p.m. The committee will hear and accept testimonies on Bill 277, an act to direct the Guam Economic Development Authority to develop and publish a request for information relative to how an interested contractor, hospital management team, or operator would transition government operation of the Guam Memorial Hospital to a public-private partnership while continuing to provide quality hospital services which are accessible to all of the people of Guam and the overall assessment of Guam's delivery of healthcare services. Bill 275, which is relative to the dock and shoreline reinforcement economic enhancement project and the completion of construction, repair, and improvements of the Guam Fishermen's Cooperative Association facility. After these hearing on these two bills, we'll also move forward with a informational hearing on the Guam Medical Referral Office and the Guam Medical Referral Services. I'd like to recognize Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz for being here. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Speaker. I also want to recognize former colleague, former Senator Chris Duenas. Thank you very much for being here. I'm going to hear Bill 275 first, if that's all right. And if you wish to testify, provide any comments, I ask you to please just sign up on the sheets that are to this table to my left. We have Mr. Manny Duenas from the Guam Fishermen's Co-op. If you can please join us front, and also Senator Duenas. Also want to recognize Senator Tommy Duenas Tommy Morrison. Tommy Morrison. Yes, for being here. Okay. Okay, let me just get this. So real briefly, Bill 275 is an effort to, number one, revise the timeline that GIDA has to, or the Guam Fishermen's Cooperative have to utilize the $2 million that was set aside in a trust account from the hot bonds as part of the overall improvements of the fishermen facility. We moved that from March 31st, 2016 to March 31st, 2017. What this also does here is that it allows GIDA to reprogram any unused funds from proceeds from the hot bond to be able to use to make these improvements on the shoreline. And so that's the second part, because we do know that there are some funds available that have not been used yet, perhaps have been allocated but not used, and so we're authorizing GIDA to make those adjustments specifically for this project. So now we have Mr. Duenas. Manny, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hafaday. On behalf of the Guam Fishermen's Cooperative Association and tenants of Agana Marina, we look forward to this project, and we thank you for your due diligence in ensuring that it gets funded. The Shoreline Reinforcement Project is an economic enhancement program that the Fishermen's Co-op has always envisioned, working with the tenants of Agana Marina, which are mostly tourism-related vessels. Over the years, these vessels have seek to get larger vessels, but as it stands now, the inner marina is very shallow. It is roughly 3 feet at low tide. A lot of these vessels are unable to operate. Therefore, they have to use our fuel dock, which we just put in place through a Department of Interior grant as a staging area to wait out the tide. So with this enhancement project, we can look at vessels that are larger coming into the marina to enhance the tourism program. We're looking at maybe $6 to $10 million. $6 to $10 million a year in additional revenue for Gulf Guam as the larger vessels come into play. And it's 220 feet, I believe, of seawall that would allow these vessels. The second thing also is that people are unaware that our families from Rhoda have been coming down here 2 or 3 times a week to get supplies. There's a lack of shipping companies servicing Rhoda, so they bring down their small vessels, ranging anywhere from 25 feet to 30 feet. As a matter of fact, one of the vessel operators was so tired because it's a fast turnaround to come to Guam, get supplies before the storm, rain or whatever get damages. He fell asleep in Rhoda and he actually crashed his boat in the dock area. So he had that was a larger vessel. But anyways, just today, Mr. Barcinas arrived from Rhoda. The other day was Mr. Atalik. And, unloading vans of cargo into their vessels makes it kind of difficult for us to maintain our operation. But again, it's an economic enhancement program. Every time these folks visit Guam, they spend anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 at our local vendors. So again, everything we try to do is not only to benefit the fishermen, but to benefit the community as a whole. And I think in the last 21 years as being president of the Fishermen's Co-op, we've always shared whatever little we have. And like I said, the Agana Marina itself has been funded by fisheries money, and it's mostly tourism-related vessels that have been operating there. So anyways, back to the point of the matter of $1 million, and we appreciate the fact that the legislature is hopefully able to reprogram the money, and we can see a better future for our people on this island. Again, the beneficiaries will be the people of Guam, because at the end of the day, the marina, the Fishermen's Co-op facility, all belongs to the people of Guam. It doesn't belong to Manny Duenas. It doesn't belong to a board of directors. And I'm glad you saw wisdom in assisting us in not having consultants. Just to let you know, our board of directors is filled with very intelligent people. On my part, I have a former quality assurance officer for the U.S. Navy. I have a corporate officer for one of our major glass companies on Guam. I have former building inspectors. So when it came to the design and the plans, I got hell for it. So, that's part of the delay, but also the delay. The project was supposed to cost $3.2 million 11 years ago. But because of the delays, and now it costs 6.4. And this would help us at least to take care of what we call an enhancement program. The co-op side will handle the $2 million, and any economic enhancement programs from the shoreline side, the Fishermen's Co-op is willing to take the risk and seek private funding for that. But like I said, we're looking forward to seeing the project materialize, and hopefully we can go to the Army Corps process rather quickly, unlike the fishing platform. Fishing platform took about 2.5 years. Our Army Corps permit has been submitted, so hopefully we can get maybe 2 months. But anyways, again, I thank you all for co-sponsoring and being a sponsor and all the help. At least in my lifetime, I may be able to see a finished, completed project for the people of Guam. Thank you, Senator.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. Senator Duenas?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Vice Speaker Cruz, Senator Tommy Morrison, Senator Espaldon. Thank you for being here today. I actually come here wearing 2 hats, one from the governor's office as his liaison who works with you and others, and the other position is as a fisherman and in my former life as involved in the tourism industry in a number of different activities. Manny Duenas is my relative, and he has also been an outstanding member of the Fishermen's Co-op president. And he's taken the co-op to where it is today and supported a lot of families and a lot of fishermen. He's been very patient. One of the reasons why Manny and the Fishermen's Co-op needs this additional revenue is they have done their due diligence. They've applied for a number of different grants. Unfortunately, we worked and tried to get this $1 million with GURA, working on a number of different projects, and it just didn't come through. And so this was another opportunity, and we thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having the heart to look at additional revenues from GITA to support this project. And so, Manny mentioned a lot of different things in terms of it being an economic enhancer. One of the things, perhaps even in the next couple of days, one of the things he didn't explain as well is in the inclement weather, when the winds shift and you start getting these westerlies and these big swells and agate closes out, you see all of the boats come up to the Ganjambo Basin to be able to continue doing dolphin watching, parasailing, a number of different activities, and they're all jockeying for space. And this upland, or shoreside reinforcement up to the upland and the dock space that it will provide will be a great enhancement to those vessels when they're trying to shift their operation, because our tourists still want to go out and enjoy the ocean and enjoy the marine activities. So on top of everything that Manny discussed, this is not just for the Fishermen's Co-op. It will support, like he said, the humanitarian things that are happening now with the vessels from Rota coming down and other usage of that dock space, but it'll also support our tourism industry consistently when the inclement weather is there and they're all looking for additional space up at the boat basin. So we beg your indulgence and your support for this bill, and the assurances that the administration is in full support of this as well. So thank you also, Senator Torres. I wanted to mention you as well. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Senator Espadon, thank you, and Senator Torres for joining me this afternoon. Vice Speaker, you have any questions? Senator Morrison?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Manny, Mr. Duenas, and Senator Duenas for providing testimony. Understanding that this is pretty much an extensive project that's going to take place in this area, would there be this done through phases, or would it impact the ongoing business activity that takes place on a daily basis there, or there's ways to work around this?
Actually, no, it won't impact any business. It would enhance Chamorro Village because they got rid of 75% of their parking where they're building their huts. So my area is pretty congested on Wednesday night. But what we look at, what we really envision is, like Senator Duenas mentioned, is that you got the vessels that are there in the Ganya Marina. We can do a staging area, because right now we used to operate out the marina with vans, with the tourism group. Now they're the big passenger buses, 60 packs. So it gets really tight for boats and trailers and those buses going through. So what we envision is the buses will go around Paseo, come south or towards Chamorro Village, and then park on the side. The passengers will offload, and if Chamorro Village will exercise some interest in those tourists, you can funnel those tourists over there for a 20-minute downtime, serve lunch. Like I've always said, people want to do dinner cruises, but to me that's the stupidest thing in the world, because the worst experience you're ever going to have on a dinner cruise is you're going to get seasick. So you have a nice dinner, tomorrow dinner, then you get seasick, and then you go back to your hotel and you're still green. So what we proposed was, what we suggest to them is have your sunset cruise instead, and then come back to land and have a nice dinner. And Chamorro Village can actually develop itself and evolve that. Because the Fishermen's Co-op's not interested. We don't have the capacity to handle that kind. But Chamorro Village has all those vendors that can all share in the wealth of tourism. So back to your question, no, it would enhance everything. I don't think it would handicap anything. And we like to keep part of our landscape as natural as possible. We want to keep the Tossi group there. We want to keep the paddlers there. I mean, that's why we recommended the fee for tourism, because we wanted to build. We're the only Pacific Island group that doesn't have a canoe house for our canoes. It's really sad. I've been to most of the areas in the South Pacific, and everybody has a nice, beautiful canoe house where the paddlers all hang out and then tell story, and then they all do their thing. So, those are the things we support. Anything with marine activity we would support, except for destroying the environment. So,
Thank you, Mr. Duenas. I think we had a couple of discussions with the chair when we were looking at some of the preliminary plans that were coming out of the Hagåtña Redevelopment Authority, and I'm sure you all looked at that. I know it's preliminary, but and of course it's subject to more discussion. Is what's happening and taking place, and this is authorized, and you move forward? Would it still fall in line if some of the preliminary plans that are taking place?
I am aware of the proposal on the table, and the only thing that sticks in my craw, and that issue has been around for like 30 years, is to put a hotel out there. You guys haven't seen the water when it gets to the westerly swells, the southwest swells. It's really bad. And you see the water breaking over the breakwater. So I don't know what kind of hotel would be built there and what type of material they'll be able to use. But to me, enhance the marina itself and make it a destination. I've always believed that if, this idea of a cruise ship was ever to evolve, which is probably going to cost $500 million, I think Tumon Bay is the best place. And it's not environmentally unfriendly. It's purely feasible as far as the depth's concerned. If you're planning on sending a cruise ship into Agana Bay, you're talking about 2 feet of water in about a couple of 100 yards. So, your chances of ever setting up a breakwater is going to be astronomical. Whereas Tumon, you have about 600 feet of water, and you can create an artificial reef, create better environment for our reef fishes, safer environment for our participants. Jet skis can operate out there, water skis can operate out there, cruise ships can come in. You can set it up and design in such a way, but you got to talk to the people that have been in the water. But you cannot just create plans that are for me, delusional. You're going to get rid of Sur Island. We talked about the numbers many years ago. I think it was $100 million. Who's going to pay for that? And again, why rebuild the infrastructure of Tumon Bay? You could enhance the infrastructure of Tumon Bay, all the shops. If you ever go to the Virgin Islands, the cruise ship comes in. They have a nice setup that's permanent because the cruise ships come in and they go to the same bazaar place. They got their farmers market, everything in one area. And why build another Tumon Bay outside of Tumon? You want to these people that come here, whether it's 3,000 people on the ship, should all have the same area to go to. That way you enhance what you have. If we need to expand Upper Tumon, I don't know. But Agana is a city. I don't think having a hotel over the reef, and it's a little bit far-fetched for me. Sorry, I can go on all day if you talk about those issues.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Duenas, I really want to thank you for mentioning publicly that you're going to work with the TOSI group there, and I remember working with you while director of Department of Parks and Recreation and providing testimony to allow more acreage or to cover and the growth of the fishermen's co-op, and it's good to know that at least with the groups there that their concerns are being addressed, and thank you for making that known publicly.
Well, we have a new adopted group also, the TOSA group. Yeah, TOSA moved up from Upper Tumon. They moved down to set up their staging area for the festback. But they set up this early, so which is really nice.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Espaldon. Senator Torres, you have any questions? Sure.
Hafa Mr. Duenas.
Hafa Senator.
As I was listening to you, what I'm wondering is how much coordination is going on between the people who have jurisdiction over the marina, which I believe is the Port Authority, right? And now the Fishermen's Co-op, which is right on the banks of that, right on the fringes of that. And then there's another effort just down the way for the fishing platform. But you're making comments on some of the proposed plans for the area with another group, the Hagatna Redevelopment, and I'm just wondering, at what point is there a coordinated discussion amongst all of you neighbors about what is actually going to be the landscape of that area? Because we're looking at a $3 million investment, and you wonder if what you're doing jives with what the port envisions as their safe harbor and their usage and movement, and even what that is in relation to the general public that uses that portion also for the Atulai fishing, as a recreational spot. Can you give me an idea? Because we're making a big investment, and I wonder if it's part and parcel to everything else that's being contemplated by the 3 different groups.
Okay, those are, I guess, different projects, but the GOSA project, the fishing platform, was designed to assist disabled to getting access for the ocean. The project itself, because of Army Corps reservations, doesn't really fulfill that need, but it provides a place where at least the fishermen, the elderly and the disabled can go. I see the tourists mainly be the beneficiaries of that, actually. Down to the co-op side, there's supposed to be a riprap, and everything is being built within the boundaries of the co-op. So the design has always been there. So there's no intrusion into the Port Authority's jurisdiction. As a matter of fact, we're trying to enhance because, like Senator Dueñas said, during the months when the boats are down there, they utilize every space they can. I'm just going to share with you an incident that happened, and I saw it 2 feet from me. Tourist was trying to get on a vessel, tourism vessel, and he fell between the seawall, the rusted seawall. There's a little finger out there. That's where the temporary offloading and loading occurs. Fell between the seawall and the boat. He slipped. His whole back was lacerated. When we pulled him out of the water, the whole deck was filled with blood. And that's part of the reason why we look at this, because talking to the marine users, and the Port Authority, in its great work it's done I'll give credit to the port since your administration. It's done fantastic and enhancing and benefiting the tourism organization. Because fishermen, we get hurt all the time. But to see a tourist walk in and have his whole back lacerated, and the tourist didn't even know. He didn't want to go to the hospital. And we told him, look, because we could speak his language, look down on the deck. It's all blood. And those are the things we try to avoid because, like I said, lasting impression. When I talked about the dinner cruise, when I talk about all these things that we need in the marina, the basic necessity of safety for our tourists. Those are the things we've been fighting for. I've been doing it for 21 years. Finally, after 22 years, we got fire rescued out there. Those are the things that we need. That we don't need a hotel. We need fire rescue in a better building, you go down there, it's containers. The first storm is going to hit. It's going to roll over onto Moylan's, and I'm glad they got insurance. But, at the end of the day, we want to enhance our facilities to make it a first-class destination. And this is the best method or exercise that we can do to practice before we talk about cruise ships. I really look at the possibility of cruise ships. But you have to take care of the guys from Rhoda first. You have to take care of the two operators first because that's all we need. And the coordination, yes, we do need but the co-ops project is within the Hagåtña restoration. It's been there since day one. They may not agree with our motif because the original plan of the Fishermen's Co-op was to put thatch roof design. We keep saying Chamorro, but we built Chamorro Village with the Spanish theme. Chamorros didn't have tile roof. We had nipa leaf. And that was when we found out it's going to cost too much, so maybe we might have to go to Spanish tiles. I don't know. But I hope I answered your question. And that, we take it upon ourselves to do things.
The only other comment I have is you keep talking about the tourist enhancement, but for me, one of the biggest joys that I have is when I see the hundreds of people that are there teaching their kids how to rod and reel when the atulai comes in. And you got to keep the nets out of that channel too, I think. Yeah, so the atulai can run. But no, I was just wondering about the coordinated effort, but I guess as long as it doesn't infringe on one's operation, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Can I
just to add to that, Primo? The land itself is under the control, and so even when we went and we were working for the grant, we had to establish the shoreline all the way up. So even if it wasn't part of the plan, they're going to have to go through the co-op in order to undo that. So I know that I worked on some of the proposals as well, and I can tell you that that's definitely part of the overall, and especially the debt service that they're going to incur at the other phases of the co-op. So.
I just want to comment on the net. Believe me, I'm not too happy about the net in the channel, and I'm glad. It's been a difficult ordeal dealing with those guys. But anyways, they've already gentlemen's agreement to stay out of the channel. But I just want to emphasize with people that, yes, we have hundreds of people on the shoreline fishing for atulai, and the fishing platform would enhance that. And we've never stopped people from fishing from the shoreline. My only concern in this whole exercise is people forget about the net fishermen. They don't sell to me, okay, and I don't care. but they feed the people of the island. So you got to give them that respect, because as much as people don't like to see the net, when I used to fish with rod and reel, I catch half a bucket. It goes to my family. It doesn't go to anybody else. But Tunuse and Tan Maria and everybody else, they want to eat a tulay. You know how many people come in every day? Hey, you got a tulay, boy? I'm 58 years old. I'm still called a boy. But at the end of the day, somebody has to feed those people. And when they go, the only thing I appreciate about being part of the co-op is these guys learn how to take care of the fish, because we have a quality standard. And at one point in time, we helped them out. So now when they go to Jigu to sell their tulay, it's iced down, not just in the back of a pickup with the flies coming. So, but that's where I get caught in the crossfire, because the net guys, they feed the island. The rod and reel guys, they feed their family. So we have to maintain a balance. And that's where I get in trouble with everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just have a quick question, maybe for you, Senator. In Gita's testimony, it says that right now they don't have the unused appropriations of $1 million, which we're saying is going to be used. That's different from some of the discussions we've had with them. The whole idea here is that we didn't spell it out in the bill. We could if we need to. We just thought that we'll give them the flexibility. We know, for example, the Tumon flood project that was budgeted for $11 million, and so the phase 1 and phase 2 was underway. Phase 3 is still that's something we're working on, working with them to develop a phase 3, and so. Even at that, it's my understanding, I want to say for the record, that once we do come up with phase 3, the only available amount that would be left there is about $2 million from that $11 million. So whatever option we pursue, based on at least even the initial options, is anywhere from 7 to 27 million. So that's why we moved in this direction, where we said. Here's a project that is of great importance as well, that that we can move on, and so that's really where we're hoping this $1 million would come from. So we'll work with Gita before we report it out to kind of get some clarification from them that's so the money's there. So this statement that it's not available is. Needs to be clarified with them. And also the other thing too, maybe Manny, if you can, after Senator Duenas, just speak about how important it is for the shoreline to be worked on prior to the actual facility, because that's been concerned, and it's been a legitimate concern that it's taken us this long, right? And why are we doing this when that project the money was there and we haven't moved forward? But you've explained it to me, but I think it'd be good for the record that you explain that here today again. You want to go? Go ahead.
No, just on the shoreline issue, the reason why it has to go first is to reinforce the shoreline for the building itself. Because of historic preservation issues, we're going to be using piles rather than to actually excavate. We were told there was gold underneath the ground, or it's a gold mine. I'm still hoping to find it someday without them knowing. But we need to reinforce the shoreline for twofold. One is to ensure our building doesn't go into the water. Also to mitigate the issue of erosion that's really happening. We have, the bunker itself, for example. It used to have a shoreline in front of it. Now the water's hitting it. And I offered a historic preservation many years ago to put some rocks and they said no, it has to follow its course. But the building itself cannot be built because of the piling unless the shoreline is reinforced. So it's twofold on the issue. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as you can see in the beginning portion, there is the support there. And the thing is that you do have the identified projects at this time, so that would take further work in committee to at least ensure which project would provide for the funds. And I think that the anticipation there was that there are discussion actively about other sources or other projects that will either have to receive an additional appropriation because they would go up or that they would go down based on another mitigating proposal. Specifically, of course, there's the discussion of the Tumon. I know that Waterworks and other ideas have come about in terms of what possible mitigation, perhaps a year from now after this rainy season, and some of the current mitigation work that's being done, and also other plans that existed prior that could possibly be the funding source. So we'll work with your committee as the bill goes forward to ensure which fund specifically would relinquish the funds.
Okay, thank you very much. If there's no other questions from the panel here, I want to thank you very much for being here, for your support of the measure. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator. We'll now move on to the second item on the agenda. Okay. The second item on the agenda is Bill 277. The purpose of Bill 277 is to take the next logical step in improving the healthcare system for Guam. The bill is generated via the Guam Memorial Hospital Task Force report that occurred over the last year. The report from this task force is available on my website, totalguam.com. And the task force report recommends the exploration of a public-private partnership to solve some of the inherent problems of current and previous attempts to improve our hospital. The RFI process allows us to get information from the private sector on options that we may want to consider. I want to be clear that this Bill 277 is a request for information and not a request for proposal. It's not calling for a request for proposal. Depending on the information we receive from this step, will determine whether we proceed to the next logical step. And if we do move in that direction, how do we proceed in that next logical step? The GMH Task Force report, there are 10 points that relate to this Bill 277. One important point addresses analyzing and addressing current employee status and preservation of employee investments into the GovGuam system. So that's very clear that we are cognizant of the issues that are first and foremost in the minds of a lot of our people at the hospital. Future legislation is being crafted to address financial issues in the healthcare system, including the expansion of health insurance coverage to our people. Bill 277 is a portion of a system of care approach which addresses many facets outlined in the report in order to improve health care for our people. The committee did receive written testimony, and it's part of the senator's packets, and as well we have some from for the public from a group called Plenary Group, and so they provide a testimony in support of this. And we've also had additional expressions of support, and written testimonies would be forthcoming as well. So we don't have anyone in this room here today that wishes to testify. Is there anyone that wishes to testify on Bill 2? Oh, yes, Senator, thank you. Yes, I'm sorry. We do have Gita's testimony as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Senators. Again, I did review Gita's testimony. I know that it's very structural, but I wanted to come here in my position as the legislative liaison from the governor's office to say from the administration that we support the intent and what you're attempting to do here, Senator. As you know, many, not just this administration, but other administrations under Gita and other ventures out into the region in terms of looking at opportunities, not just on Guam, but regional opportunities in terms of offerings. And one of the things that always comes up in trade missions and other discussions regionally is the idea of opportunities to share experiences and technologies and other services throughout the region in healthcare, and also primarily in a lot of times in energy. And so those discussions have always taken place, like I said, not just with us, but with others. And so we think that this is a great way to explore not only opportunities locally, but to see what happens when the RFI goes out and see what opportunities. The current hospital that was built obviously came by a group that came and was put together, of course, by many local stakeholders, but others that were looking at opportunities in this region. So we think that it's a very forward-thinking proposal. that you've embarked upon, and we look forward to see what the interest comes back when the RFI is put out.
Thank you very much, Senator,
Sure.
for that. Is there anyone who wished to, Vice Speaker, do you have a question for Senator Duenas?
Dwayne, just a comment to put on the record. I'm very happy that you mentioned that one of the 10 things that you were concerned about was the employees and the retirement fund. I feel like the rerun the other night on Downton Abbey, and I feel like Mary is saying, do the people that you're asking for interest know that this beautiful hospital comes with a retirement fund obligation? I mean, it probably, of all the government agencies, has the largest unfunded liability at the retirement fund, because the doctors and the nurses retired with the, I know right now that the retirees with the most pension are the doctors that have retired from GMH. And so I just wanted to make sure that it's clear that whoever takes on the responsibility of the public-private partnership in whatever you put out, that we have to honestly state how much is owed and how much is expected from whoever is going to run the hospital to continue to contribute to cover those retirees from that retired from GMH. And also, I think it's imperative that the full debt obligation of the hospital has to be stated, so they know what they're coming into. I know it's more than the $25 million that the vendor payments that are outstanding. There's, I think, a $20 million loan, and I'm not sure we've paid down any of the others. So I really do think that when whoever prepares the RFI should honestly state that there are these very, very costly children that comes with that beautiful woman that you're trying to marry.
Mm-hmm. If I could comment on that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
You know what's interesting is in some of the think tank discussions, we did some review over the last 12 years. I believe off the top of my head, it was minimum of three bills in the last 12 years that have been introduced. And it's interesting that the price tag seems to always come up to right about the same. It's right about $25–30 million when the hospital seems to have lagged behind and gotten to that spot, and a senator or a chairman has to come up and propose to the body some sort of a financing scheme. And then it made sense, because one of the last PDN reports was the hospital in any given month, regardless of what this body does, seems to lag a $1 to $3 million shortfall with all of its breakdown on its indigent care, depending on the payment schedules of those that are insured, and regardless of what happens. So you could see the accumulation. It makes sense that every 3 years, there's your number again, 25, 30, $35 million. So you're right, Vice Speaker, no question with regard to that. But then when we looked at the opportunities to recover, I don't know how many countless budget oversights you've conducted, and throughout the fiscal years, you have the same answer every time in terms of collection and indigent care. But the other two issues are always the outstanding issues, and that is, we continue to knock on the door of the federal government to realize their obligation to treat us like the rest of everybody else that are in the American family when it comes to the Medicaid, Medicare issues that's in your report, Mr. Chairman. The other thing that always has to be a discussion, and you're right in terms of how you approach this woman, is the fact that you everything that's been done till to date, other than the finance schemes, there has never been a economic or revenue generating element to it. So Mr. Vice Speaker, one of the discussions with the group was, maybe it's not, and I think this would allay some of the fears too, even of those who are employed there and the future of the hospital, is maybe it's the revenue generating portions of the hospital that allow for that marriage and that relationship, that when the RFI comes out, those who can see that the business model is that I can conduct business there, but I pay the hospital. and I pay for the privilege of working with that hospital to subsidize. And then your insurance discussions. Our committee, too, has been in a number of different discussions on how to move forward and have some more indigent care coverage. So when you put all these little pieces together, we don't envision, and what we looked at in terms of looking at your model and the proposal, we don't envision anyone really thinking that they're going to come in and take over a city hospital and believe that they could make a profit. But that's why when you have the public-private partnership, you're always going to have a city hospital, because every city has it. You have to have a hospital whereby people go that don't have any ability to pay and have to be taken care of. But perhaps within that model, there is revenue generating opportunities where they pay the hospital, they pay for the privilege of being there, but that subsidizes the overall operation of the hospital. So we're hoping those are the type of proposals that come in. The model is not that much different. Like I said, with energy models, of course, they've been local and U.S. companies, but you do have those partnerships that exist right now with GPA, GWA. You have business offices that make proposals. I think you're onto something at least to take a look at. And like you said, it's not an RFP, it's an RFI. So maybe in 2 to 3 months through this legislation, we see proposals that maybe we can work with.
That's right. Great. Thank you very much. And yes, you're absolutely right that this process will allow us to look at what's out there and to really then based on that, put a proposal together that can ensure that the obligations we have to our people are still there, and also to ensure that the part of the 10-point plan, the task force report, and the executive summary. I know it's about nearly 300 pages, but
right.
If you want to do a quick reading, it's 16 pages of executive summary. Number 5 of that 10-point plan, and I'll read it. It's number 6. It's work on analyzing and strengthening the procedures that need to be addressed in the event and eventual transition into a public-private partnership, such as current employee status, preservation of employee investments in the GovGuam Retirement Fund, impact to the retirement fund, and all other impacts to existing human resources. So, we want to be very clear from the front, from the very beginning to whoever may be looking and have interest that this is an obligation, this is something that they must seriously, take a look at. And also the difference with this now is that this Bill 277 is really one component of this whole approach. We can't just continue to just address the hospital. The biggest component there is ensuring we have access to care, access to health insurance coverage, and so we've talked about establishing some sort of universal health plan for Guam. So that's all these things must work together. And so this time that we're giving the RFI to take its course, we're hoping that would also give us the opportunity to come up with a plan that could be attractive to others as well.
We're really looking forward to that insurance piece. That's got to be the next approach. So we look forward to that as well.
Great. Thank you very much. Anyone else? If not, we'll conclude the public hearing on Bill 277, and the committee will continue to accept any written testimony that the public may wish to provide on both bills. And at this time, we'll take a quick recess, and we're going to then move on to our next portion, which is informational on the Guam Medical Referral Office. We're in recess. Hafaday, good afternoon. We're back on. It's 2:57 p.m. We're here now conducting informational hearing on the Guam Medical Referral Office and the Guam Medical Referral Services. We have Mrs. Evelyn Claris, who's here, and also still Senator Duenas. Thank you for being here. We've also invited representatives from the different providers that do provide services to our people off island. We have Representative Phil M.D., which represents St. Luke's, I believe. We also have our insurance providers, Staywell, who's here, Good Samaritan as well, and also from Take Care. You're welcome to join us too if you wish to. But what we'll do is we'll have Evelyn, who is from the governor's office, provide us a maybe an overview of the Guam Medical Referral Office, the work that you do, the services that are provided to our people in the areas that are covered. And also after that, then we'll have the other providers provide also the same type of presentation of what they provide in terms of services to kind of really see if there's any duplication of services that are happening already now. And so if they are, how can we consolidate this to be able to improve the delivery of these services for our people. We'll also have an opportunity for those, the general public, who wish to provide any comments or ask any questions. You'll be also free to come up and do that. So, Evelyn, you go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Evelyn Claros. I'm from the Governor's Office, and I am the lead staff in the Community Affairs Constituent Services Office who oversee that program. And I'm just going to give you a real brief overview of some of the things we do. Okay. Now, with our office, when an individual comes for a referral, what we do is we get information from them, what location. We try to assist them the best to, and some of the services we provide are airport pickup upon arrival and departure, ground transportation to and from the appointments, and then if certain sites they request for rental, we assist them with reservations. We do not pay for any car rental, but we won't make the coordination. We do have a referral rate as well as the lodging. And I apologize. The GRMO rate is with the lodging and not rental. The rental we try to do our best, but we usually don't get a break in the rental. And then the 3 locations that we assist families are the Philippines, Hawaii, and LA. So when a family member or escort comes in, some of the information that we require, we have a form called the Parent Referral Information Form, or PRI, and some of the information we require is a medical referral from the respective insurance company. We also require an itinerary that shows the time and arrival, departure of the family members, and that's very critical because of coordination of, to be sure that someone's there to pick them up, as well as drop them off, or if there's any flight delay, especially if you're going out to LA. Okay, and regardless of what side you're going, we do ask that all 3 locations should complete the form, and then there are situations where you have several family members seeking assistance, medical assistance. We ask that each one of them be provided, submit a form. That way we can truly account, and also for assistance to try to do their best to ensure that there's appropriate pickup service for them. Okay, and then in terms of the personnel and the contact information, what we do is we have at our office, we have a packet for each site, and we give them to the respective site to include the point of contact at each site. We have their phone numbers, we have an email address, we have even a fax number. Some of the some offices still use fax, so we provide that. Each location has 2 employees to serve the families and the individuals who are seeking medical assistance. Okay, and then the other sort of information that I was asked to provide is just some statistics on what we have to date with the number of families that we serve. And this is for the last 3 fiscal years. These are our numbers. And if you would see that in every year, from 2013 to 2014 and 2015, actually most of them have dropped in the number of patients reaching out to seek services off island. I believe it's only in the LA that has increased for 2015, but you'll see it's from 1024 to 1212, which is a slight increase. But this numbers again is strictly on I only counted the actual individual requesting for assistance. This doesn't include family members, escorts. Some of them come in just one, and some come as many as 4 or 5 members in the family going with the patient. So it really varies, but you will see that every year it has decreased. Okay, and basically, based on the request from the Senator's office, that this is the information I'd like to share with you, but I'm open to any other information. And I do have copies of our information that we get, that we coordinate with our medical referral office service. Respective sites, we give that packet information as well.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. And I guess just to give a brief history for those who may not probably know how this operates, and you can correct me if I'm not representing it the right way. So we have current law that mandates that we provide a Guam medical referral office, and so under the governor's office. And so you have a private provider who is contracted to provide the services in those 3 locations, which is Hawaii, the Philippines, and Los Angeles.
That's correct.
That's correct. So you have that, and on an annual basis, how much is the contract?
Sorry, Senator, I don't memorize all the numbers, but I do have the contract in front of me. So actually, the most current amendment is, we're at amendment number 3 because it's an annual renewal. And right now, this amount that I read is $269,999.94.
And that's for an annual?
Annual for all 3 sites.
For all 3 sites?
Correct.
Okay. So when you say that, that's you break that down into 3 locations, right? You break it down to 3 locations. Do you have a per location and per person cost on how much it's costing?
No, I don't. I don't have the per person costs. I don't have that information.
Okay. So the pamphlet that you have shows what type of services the Guam Medical Referral Office does provide. The last time we had this roundtable, about maybe 2 years ago, we've come to the conclusion that time is really a high-price concierge service, right? Because that's really what it is that this office is doing. And that's why we have the other providers here to kind of see if they're providing those types of services already now, and if, and of course we have to check, and I don't know if you didn't present that here, but the numbers you provided here, are these individuals that have private insurance? Are they MIP or Medicaid? Would you have that information?
I don't have that information with me today, but we do have, we can pull out that data.
Would you be able to say what's the...
We do get a lot of individuals with, private, but we do also have a good number from our MIP and Medicaid programs.
Okay. So, and then we'll come back. And if you have any questions, Vice Speaker, Senator, please go ahead and just jump in. So maybe we'll ask Annette first, right? If you can introduce yourself.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Annette Garces. I'm the manager of Philippine Medical and Dental Referral Services.
And you represent?
St. Luke's Medical Center in the Philippines.
Okay. So with St. Luke's, I know your office here, which is located in the Micronesia Mall, you provide the assistance for those who have medical referrals to St. Luke's. You help them work on transportation, on hotel, on car rental, on whatever else they need to get arranged when they're in the Philippines. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and do you have to have insurance to be able to?
No. We accept patients with or without insurance.
Okay.
As long as they go to St. Luke's.
As long as they go to St.
Yes.
Luke's, okay. Would you have any amount or the data with you today? I know we probably didn't ask you, but would you happen to have at least a ballpark figure?
Average patients per month, average of 160 patients per month.
160 patients per month. Because this one here shows about, where's the Philippines? Yeah. 1,600 patients that you service. So you
Yeah, that's the annual. Asking for assistance in our office, so 160 per month.
Okay. So none of those that come to you come from the medical referral office.
Some of them, yes, sir. Some of
So how does that work? How does that work if they're referred from the Guam medical referral?
No, sir. Actually, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. I'm just confused. So no.
Okay.
No, sir.
So these are just unique that come directly to your
Yes,
office.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how about for the others, for the insurance providers? What do you provide as a service to your members? If you can just speak on the mic. Introduce yourself, please. So
Hi, I'm Dr. Sasmin Yola. I'm the Director for Medical Care Management of Stable Insurance. So basically, my department handle the off-island referrals to all of our participating providers to these areas except Hawaii.
Okay.
So basically what happens is when a member comes in to us asking for pre-certification from their insurance payer, we prepare a packet for them too, and part of the process is us coordinating their appointments to wherever they're going. As long as it is within our participating provider network, then we communicate with either Annette, if they're going to St. Luke's, the office of Good Samaritan Hospital, and also at the same time, we advise them to proceed to the Guam Medical Referral Office, just in case they will need something like services for lodging, arrangements, coordinations, and transportation services. We do that to all of our participating networks in the Philippines. And since Good Samaritan Hospital also opened up their office here in trying to help our members that proceeds to their facility, we coordinate it with them too. So the services that we provide to our members who are going for off-island referral is mostly coordination with these offices. So we do not provide free lodging. It's not part of the standard benefits. Transportation is also not part of the standard packages, but the coordination is part of the services that we provide. And all information that they would need aside from getting the services from these three other offices.
Hi, my name's Bethany. I'm from the Good Samaritan Patient Services Office. Our services are mostly revolve around the medical itinerary and the coordination services to Los Angeles, because care doesn't start once they're there, it starts before. So we make sure in our office here, since we are boots on the ground on this location, we make sure the patient's records, review, appointments are set over in Los Angeles, and provide everything they need before they leave. Once they get to Los Angeles, we have an office strictly for the Guam, Saipan, Micronesian patients. It's also our sister office. They provide services once the patient lands, and we have Rosie Pareda over there, and she is a local that has been working over there for 20 years, very familiar with the services. Everybody knows her just about and or related to her, so it's very helpful having her there. And she, as soon as they get there, she will go over their medical itinerary, and if they need any services, any help, they need to make phone calls. In the event that they need transportation, she certainly can step in and assist with that. If by chance they don't have a ride to their appointment, then we can provide vouchers in that case, or send our security van to go pick them up. So mostly we're medical itinerary, and we always try to create a distinction between the GRMO services, which are more ground transportation itinerary, and so we don't want to overlap services. We definitely provide the services needed if they're needed, and take care of any immediate issues that may come up at the best of our ability, but the idea is not to overlap services.
Based on what you see now, what the GRMO provides now, is that, I know you said you don't want to overlap, but is that that component of what you know that they do, is that something that maybe, at least in your area, Good Sam would be open to assume?
I know that we definitely have the expertise and capabilities to do so, and also the resources if needed. However, it would come down to a funding issue because it would be an expansion of the program or services we already provide. We provide those definitely on a case-by-case basis because GRMO is already providing those services. But if there was a change in the program or when it's necessary, we definitely have the expertise to take over those services or provide those kind of services. It would just have to go into further discussion regarding budget or expansion of the services and full discussion on that and how much it's going to cost.
Okay. Yes, Doc.
What Bethany was talking about, all these things, good services that are being availed at the Good Samaritan.
Yes, that's right.
So there's other facilities in the LA area and outside of LA that are Guamanians go to, like Chile and Anaheim, the Anaheim area. And those parts are being also being serviced by there.
Okay. Yeah, because and we'll ask Take Care to do a presentation, because the whole idea here is are we so the amount you said was $269. I didn't know I have a copy here. I thought it was $540,500,000. That's the annual budget, the contract that is for the 3 locations. We'll just verify that first. Yeah, because you have it broken down here also on what.
Let me see if we break down the contract, or if you can just.
Okay.
This one first. Okay. Is that an amendment? Let's see if that.
So while they're, I think page 9, if you look at page 9, right, on that contract. So what the whole idea here is that looking at what we've already are allocating or spending for the Guam Medical Referral Office to see if indeed there are some of these overlapping services that maybe could be, that if they don't need to provide that the providers could provide it, then that's where we can kind of save some of that resources and use it for directly for the patients, because we've heard stories, and we have some our residents here stories about how needing help for even one more day of lodging, or for food, or for anything that's needed, because having to leave off island is never a fun thing or something that someone wants to do, but they need to do it, right? So that's where we're looking at whether some of you here can pick up some of that services. If not, then are we spending too much on this high price concierge service, or are we not funding it enough? That's where we want to get information, and that will really what we can use to move forward in determining what needs to be done and what the future of this Guam Medical Referral Office would be, right? So, Senator.
Yeah, so you're correct, Senator. The original, that besides that amendment, that must have been a midterm, but it's $540,000, the annual amount.
And that's for 3 locations.
That's correct. That's all
Okay.
3 locations.
Okay. Okay. Yes. I'll take care.
Yes, my name is Grace Murphy, and I represent Take Care Insurance Company, and I'm here with Mr. Dave Torrey, who's our compliance manager, and I oversee the medical management department of Take Care, and we do coordinate referrals both on island and off island for our insured members. So on an average, we send approximately in a month close to about 200 referrals off island. 80% of that go to the Philippines, and as part of our strategy and enhance our members go to a closer pathway for more immediate services, we provide a travel incentive to our members to go to the Philippines, and that is a reimbursement towards travel and lodging. So, as what you're saying, Senator, this is something that insurance already has built in its product offering. So that is already part of the benefits of the member when they sign up with Take Care. However, that benefit does not extend to going to the mainland, where some of our members would still choose to go to. I'm seeing our partners here from Good Samaritan, and they have been very helpful in coordinating some of our appointments. And when our members decide to go to Good Samaritan Hospital, we definitely route them to the Guam Medical Referral Office. The only concern I have is anything beyond Good Samaritan, which is, of course, we have an agreement with, but sometimes there are certain cases that can only be handled in a very high specialized facility, like UCLA, like specialized, really specialized procedure. GMRO does not extend their services to the UCLA area or to the Orange County area. So in looking at maybe if since the insurance already put a huge amount of benefit already towards travel and lodging as part of the referral, and what we could look at is like if the allocation for mainland referrals at least be improved or enhanced a little bit more to extend to not only the LA area or the Good Samaritan area, but at least to some other neighboring facilities where most of our residents go to. As far as I can understand here, most of the local insurance do offer some form of incentive to go to the Philippines. I know other insurances provide some sort of a travel benefit to go to the Philippines, but that is not really the case when they go to the U.S. mainland.
Yeah, and thank you, Grace, for that. And that's where I think, just on the surface here, seeing where there's already a lot of assistance and services being provided in the Philippines, and maybe this allocation of 163,000 is maybe shifted. More of that will go to the LA area or the the other areas where where our people are going to, right? So maybe, and this is not going to be the last roundtable, but that's what we need to take a look at is in those areas, those hospitals that the GRMO now does not cover. Maybe that's where we need to take a look at. And I still, maybe we can get, if we may ask, just maybe a detailed services that St. Luke's, and we'll ask the other hospital there to provide, or if the insurance companies know what these other hospitals provide our patients from Guam, then that's where we can really take a look at and see if that's where we can kind of adjust, this allocation. And I just have one question before I forget. So now, the way it's done, the Guam Medical Referral Office provides assistance of finding a lodging area, getting a discounted rate, and also to a certain extent a transportation from the airport to the hotel, right? Are they there providing transportation from the hotel to the hospital on a daily basis? Is that part of the agreement?
Yes, we do our best to try to serve the constituents for ground transportation to appointments. So we always remind them to contact our contacts at the respective site if there's follow-ups and other appointments needed.
But with 2 personnel, it seems like it's impossible. It's impossible to service all, 12 or in any given month, 150. 150 patients, right? How many? Is it a bus? Do you have a bus or do you have a vehicle?
I understand they have more like a van.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess coming from the payer side, I guess what I personally would like to know is what should be the expectations of the people who are leaving Guam for off-island for medical referral. The feedbacks that we get is that they're only providing when they are able to the transportation. The lodging, of course, is most of the times we coordinate it ourselves. But I guess there's more expectations like helping their caregivers in doing groceries. There were some patients who complained that they used to get assistance in making phone calls so that they won't be charged long distance fees, calling back to their families here in Guam. And some of the stuff that I guess the expectations through the years have been there, because some of them received it, some of them did not, and some of them are receiving it, and some of them are not. So I was personally a patient in LA, and I rode the van of the Guam Medical Referral Office together with all the other patients, and I received a lot of complaints. Number one of that is, of course, the availability, like what the senator is saying. Two-man group for that much of people expected to come on a monthly basis really will just not cut it, because some of them really will have appointments not just within the facility, and like what Grace was saying, it's confined to the area of Good Samaritan. It's hard for them to go outside of the LA downtown area, and a lot of people goes to CHLA, and I guess appointment-wise and everything, it's hard for them. And I believe in the past years, GMRO also provided assistance in making appointments to the people of Guam. I guess that's why the Office of Bethany came about. It's because that was not happening anymore during the recent years. And that's more of a hardship because of the time difference and everything. It's hard for our people who are currently in another time zone to call us back here. And so they relied on the Guam Medical Referral Office because of the name. It's a Guam Medical Referral Office. They were supposed to get help from that office in coordinating their further appointments when they get there. So those are the expectations that we have been receiving a lot of complaints.
Great. Okay. When is this? When do you renew the? Is it a fiscal year? The contracts, is it expire every fiscal year?
Actually, Senator, we're up for another extension. Looking at the third amendment to the contract, it's from October 1st, 2015 to March 31st, 2016.
Okay, I think I don't know if we have time. There's time to work things out, but clearly, I think there's there's got to be an assessment, right, and maybe a working group between the providers and your office to see how this needs to move forward. Because in looking at the distribution of the $500,000, it seems like we're paying. We're allocating so much at one location, which is Hawaii, which you see here is very low compared to the others. I think they're allocated 189,000 a year, and that comes up to about $306 that we're expending per person for Hawaii. If you look at the the Manila numbers, that's $106 per person. And for Los Angeles, it's $155 per person, right? So maybe it's really, I think it's time that we need to assess the services that are out there. And Senator, I don't know how this would work, because if you do have something that's up for renewal, right?
Yeah, you know what, Senator, we the one point in the meeting that we had yesterday, I think you're right about the assessment, because as you said, we heard the number of 160 from just one insurance company. And so we're going to have to assess how many of these members are actually self-pay and coming to the medical referral office because of the fact that they may not even be insured. And so we should cross our numbers and figure that out, because we may have a grand total that's even larger than what we're showing here. So I don't know that representation of the number per patient served would be actually what was served, because it could be the insurance companies also have their referral, but these are referrals that are coming to the medical referral office because they don't have any arrangements to begin with. So we really do need to cross those numbers. But if we do have an unequal distribution, we're in agreement with you that we should maybe look at that proposal and see if there needs to be some shifting.
And I think at least for St. Luke's, who has their representation here, and also with Good Sam, My concern is for those under MIP or Medicaid or
Right.
or who are self-insured, because then they won't have anyone to turn to. If you're in the Philippines, you can turn to St. Luke's, or in LA to Good Sam. So that's the concern, and maybe that's where the assessment needs to happen.
I think you're right, because it sounds like what we're hearing is a need for more services, not less. And so we're going to have to figure out what that is. I know that, thankfully, and I know we have constituents here, so my purpose was here to also to take those notes. But Evelyn, I believe in the 5 years we have 8 registered complaints, so that's not bad. I mean, considering what but maybe we're just not getting it filtered up the chain
That's
from
right.
from your and yeah.
Not coming up with
Go ahead.
a written.
Right, so we need to
complaint.
hear that.
But
though,
we've
too.
heard,
Yeah.
I've heard more than 8, definitely. And I guess what you're saying about the services being required more, I think it's the consistency in the service that needs to happen first and foremost. Because it's hard for a patient to be off island already and not have someone to rely on when they know they should have someone to rely on when they get there. So I've experienced it also, that it's not all the time that they will be available. It's not all the time that they will be there. I only met one person when I was in LA, and I'm supposed to meet 3. I think there was supposed to be 3 at that time. I only met the driver most of the times, but the person who did the most was actually the ones who worked for the facility and not from the Guam Medical Referral Office.
Okay, we have our constituents here. As we
Sure.
can invite them up if you wish to come forward. We have some chairs up here, and next over here. We'll spread ourselves so the table looks full. Okay, sir, you can just introduce yourself, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Charlie Mantanonia.
Husband of Charlie, wife of Charlie.
Okay, my name is Rosita Camacho, and I'm the life partner for Jesse Sablan.
My name is Jesse Sablan. I was the patient. Well, I don't think I really need a mic because I talk pretty loud. Anyway, I like to say kudos to Good Samaritan, especially to that beautiful lady, Rosita Pereira. First of all, yes, I am a patient of Good Samaritan. I went to the Philippines also when I was diagnosed here for blood bacteria in my blood. They sent me to the Philippines. When I came there, 1 week later, the doctors told me over there that I'm all right. So I came back home because they said they can't do anything. 1 week later, after I came back home, I went into, back into the intensive care. So I decided not to go to GMH because I just came from GMH. And I was, like I say, told to go to the Philippines. I spent close to $13,000 just to go to the Philippines. Well, I went to the new hospital. I met this one good doctor that came from the States. And he checked me out and everything like that. So they found a bacteria in my blood from a blood transfusion here in Guam. So apparently he knew a doctor over in Good Sam, and his name is Dr. Zide. So I had bacteria in my pacemaker lead. So they can't do it in the Philippines, I guess, is because they didn't have the proper equipment. But yet they say that my pacemaker was still good. So apparently I went to Good Samaritan because I almost passed away 3 times. When I came there, 2 hours later, after the ambulance came and picked me up, which is, I guess it belongs to Good Samaritan. I came in, they checked me out. 2 hours later, I was operated on. Everything went successfully. But my main concern here and my complaint is, first of all, and I really appreciate that the governor's office is here, because I made, personally by myself first, I made a complaint to the governor's office that GRMO in LA is not functioning the way it's supposed to function. And with all those money allocated for them, that's my money, that's your money, her money, his money, because we're the taxpayers' money, that's where it's supposed to be. Apparently, you know, there's two people working there, which is Tanya, Karen, and Tina. One is working in Santa Ana, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's the overall boss for Good Sam. I mean, for the whole entire LA County. The other one is Tina. She works over at Good Sam, supposed to be providing for the people that goes to Good Samaritan. Apparently, I was asking myself, you know, because they're renting a room there. So I was asking myself, where's these people? All the people from Guam are coming over, from Referral from Guam are come over, got picked up at the airport, got dumped at the hospital, and just left there to rot. So I asked myself, I said, I met this guy, the one that you were saying. His name is Matt Cruz. Okay, that guy there has been working for over 7 years for Guam Medical Referral, so he knows inside and out. Basically, the poor guy got not busted by me saying busted. He got busted by those two people that are working under GRMO. Whoever is the one that who bid and won the bid for that GRMO office over there. They're paying these two people here that has a double job. So how can you tend to the people in Guam, Referral coming over there if you have your own 8-hour job? Basically, the office is never open. Once a week, she'll come in, less than an hour, she'll come in, go to that computer and look who's coming in tomorrow so that she can go and pick them up. Once they pick up, they just throw it at the hospital and that's it. Because she has to go to her job. So now if you want to come back home, you have to call her again. Because she's never in the office. So I'm going to ask now the governor's office to see and find out if what's his name is paying those two people 8 hours a day job. Because if the governor is paying for those two people that are working under the GRMO, whoever contracted it, 8 hours a job, so that means the taxpayers' money is being vandalized under our nose because they're not giving us the service. That's why I say kudos to Rosie, because basically she's the one who's doing all the necessity paperwork, appointment. Everything. The staff over there for the GRMO didn't accommodate me, nothing forever.
Why?
And you know the reason why that I'm saying this is because, you know, Rosie came and knew about what's going on, and she even said, if the people in Guam or the governor in Guam or the whoever, because I even wrote I made a verbal complaint to the Attorney General for this to be investigated. So she said to me, if they need somebody to come and testify, I'm willing to come to Guam and testify. Even the director of Good Samaritan, because the poor director is looking at the people of Guam and he feels sad for the people of Guam that are coming over there, left behind. That one individual, bad enough, you know, she's handicapped, and the husband got into an operation. She didn't even know that the husband got transferred to another hospital. Is that the way that we want our people to be sent over there? They tell us here in Guam about all the things that GRMO is going to provide for the people of Guam, the community of Guam, when they get off-island referral. It's not happening over there, and I'm glad that I'm here explaining to you. I'm not going to make it too long because I guess I said a lot of things already. But I'm going to come into the talk show next week, and I'm going to let the people of Guam know that if you're going for medical referral, don't expect what you think that you're going to expect over there, because it's not right. You know, better yet, I'd like to ask the senators, instead of appropriating money and giving it and having it contracted out to whoever's the one who won the bid, I think my recommendation, and I think is fair enough and good enough, that money be given over to Good Samaritan, and I think Good Samaritan can do a more professional and more adequate job in tending to the people of Guam that are coming over there. Therefore, that contractor, because they're eating them. I don't know what's happening with all those people that are working over there. And you know, they take care of Good Samaritan, UCLA, Ronald McDonald, and Anaheim. So how can you tell me now with that money, and you know, I think I overseen it over there, the contract, $188,000. And when I was at home, I was trying to break down how much. Okay, if I was to, and there's no van. Don't let people that tell you there's no van in.
It was repossessed.
It's a POV that is taking people, and the liable. If you get into an accident, who's liable now? Is it the owner of that POV? I don't know. But anyway, when I was tallying those things down, 188,000. I can hire 2 people or 4 people with that amount of money, get a van, and then every day I pay these people per annum. I give them $30,000 each, for example, and you break everything at cost. You know what? It's going to be equally sound good, right? Why? Because it's even at $10 an hour, the minimum wage not yet up there. It's still, I think, $10 an hour. It's not yet up at 15. But when you look at it, that 188,000, if they were to perform that job over there the way it's supposed to do, I think 188 is more than adequate. That's my own belief, and that's the way, because I experienced that. I stayed there for 4 months. And I give thanks to Weingart, because why? They put out a computer, and I even asked the general manager there, please do not open the computer room during the day, or at least extend it up until 10 o'clock at night, because the people in Guam are all sleeping during the day, so we cannot contact them. Please open it up until 10 so we can contact, the offices, like, for example, Select Care. I can call Select Care. Hey, Select Care, this is what I need. But who's going to call Select Care in the middle of the morning or night? So what they did was they accommodate us, and they open it up. There's no phone. When you need to use the telephone for off island to go home, you cannot. But before, 7 years ago, everything was nice. When Gloria Nelson, before the poor lady that died, when she went over there, she had the red carpet accommodation, and that van was existing at that time. Now, that guy that you were talking, Matt Cruz, he had to pay $1,200 some because they gave him a ticket. Why did they give him a ticket? Because he's driving the van to the airport, and the van wasn't registered to pick up patients at the hospital, because it's not insured. So that's my own grievances as a patient here in Guam, and I please, to be honest with you, recommend it to the rest that don't expect what you think that on the paper that's what they're going to provide you, because they're not going to provide you. Honest to God. So, ma'am, please tell the governor to talk to what's his name, whoever win that contract, because it's not fair for the people, the taxpayer. Bad enough we're on a hardship going over there to begin with, and then when we get there, what we're expecting is unexpected. So we carry another burden. It's very bad for the people of Guam that are going over there, especially if they're handicapped or, not enough. And what I'm trying to say is they're not enough, and they're going over there, and they don't even know where's their husband at, and being transported to another. Then the thing about it that makes me really, really concerned and hurt is when the poor lady was asking GRMO, do you know where's my husband? I don't know. Find out where's your husband, man. So you know what she did? She had to call the hospital and ask, where's the husband? Oh, your husband's been transferred to rehabilitation center. Then she asked, who's going to take me over there? You know what the GRMO said? Get a cab. Is that fair? So am I going to be paying, my tax money is going to be paying for that individual that's working, that's supposed to be working there, that has never been there, and she's still working for a doctor's office? That's not fair. That guy, Matt Cruz, I give kudos to him, and tell the governor to at least write him, or even the legislature, write him a resolution and give it to him, because up till now he's still staying there, and every Chamorro that comes there, he go out of his way and help him. That's why the general manager for Weingart, make him stay there half price, because he's also helping the Chamorro people. And I feel sorry for that. The senator just went to that one person that died. His son died. Those are the group. Those are our group. I feel sorry for her, because you know why? The son is going to dialysis and everything, and she had to push the son like from here to the main highway, up the hill to the dialysis center. Is that fair for GRMO to be being paid, and for this individual skinny lady pushing his own son? Now the son is dead. GRMO is just going to say, oh, I'm sorry. But boy, they're very fast to come and transport her back up to the airport to go home. Here, let's go. I'll take you. Come on, man. Come on. It's not fair. It's very terrible. Lucky I didn't die over there too, because maybe my wife is gonna raise hell because services are not rendered according to the amount of money that we're paying those, and we're taxpayers. That's all I'm very concerned about. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mantenuña.
My concerns are, with the GRMO, we were supposed to fill out the patient referral form. Okay, with his situation, we were on a rush basis. With the coordinator over at GRMC, she helped me out. I filled out the form. I wasn't able to sign it, but she did fax it to GRMO here in Guam. With my itinerary, because like I said, it was just a last minute thing. But when we got to LA, we asked her to take us back to the airport that one day when we're ready to leave. She said, I'm sorry, but you guys are not listed on the register. I said, what do you mean we're not listed? We are a patient of Guam no matter what, and we are coming from you guys with your list. We should be in there no matter signed or not signed. That's this one right here. This is my original, and this is the fax copy. So we were not registered, we were not accommodated because we were not registered. That's one.
And I have to pay $50 for a taxi to take us to the airport.
Okay. This is the pamphlet that was given to us before we left, and this is show the time. You need any information, please. Our office is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. except weekends and holidays. And then Tyron and Tina, phone numbers, okay? When we started complaining, and the complaint came all the way over here, they switched it. They changed it. There is no services here now. So that means they don't even have to show up at the office, which they don't show up anyway. We never met Tyron. Tina, she only comes in, like he says, once a week or not even at all. And maybe only for 5-10 minutes, and that's it. I gave you a copy of a little bit of the complaints, and it's terrible. We really don't have that much complaint because, like I said, Rosie, she took care of us. They paid for our own taxis for our appointments, which is not around here. It's in another area. She gave us coupons or travel vouchers to pay for our taxi. She took care of that. So we're not really, the only our concern is just about other family members. One was, his name is Ed.D. He's an elderly. He came by himself, and we acknowledge him and everything, but he asked Tina if she can take him to go to the grocery store to buy some groceries, and he's using a cane. And he said, Tina said, okay, I'll take you the next day. She came back waiting, he was waiting, and then all of a sudden he found out that she cannot take him. The poor guy, without, because we're not around all the time, he went by himself. And that's how many, 6 blocks down the road, up a little hill, down the hill, then coming back with his grocery bag. He was out of breath when he came in. And we even sort of like scolded him because, next time you wait until we're together and we can go together. But he needed water for his medicine, and some food, coffee and stuff. So it's mostly other complaints, which it's not even right. And the van also, oh my gosh. No transportation, no nothing.
I don't know about that vehicle that Tina is transporting the people of Guam to the airport and from the airport and back to the airport. I don't know if that's her POV, private POV, and maybe whoever contracted this purchased the insurance for her to use that. But in reality, she's not supposed to use her POV transporting any patient and stuff like that, because if she gets into an accident, I mean, who are they going to blame?
Actually, I was told that that vehicle that she has was bought by GRMO's money just to transport. But that's also telling you that it's transporting her to her own work, house, and children, because she does other things also. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Our complaint is transportation. We had to leave Los Angeles because our appointment, or his appointment, wasn't scheduled till January 18th. So we went to Washington on December 23rd because we weren't about to be paying $55 a day, and we weren't seeing the doctor. It was a break, Christmas break. So I contacted Tina on the 14th of January in Washington, and I told her that we needed a pickup from the airport because his appointment was scheduled for the 18th of January, and she told me on the phone that she couldn't pick me up, and their specifications that it was only for medical reasons that she could pick us up. Well, it was for medical reason because we were returning for a medical appointment on the 18th. So she never. So thankfully, I had a cousin who lived in the LA area, and she came and picked us up from the airport. But the treatment there at GRMO, like we were there for like 2 months. We saw Tina maybe 3 times there, the entire time we were there. We had to walk to the store. That boy that died, who was buried about 2 weeks ago, his mom had to push him every other day for dialysis because there was no transportation available. I mean, as something needs to be done. Another issue we have, I guess, there's no representative here from public health. They don't accept Medicaid over there for your prescriptions. So the families who are on Medicaid, they have to cough up the money to pay for their prescription. Carrie and I walked to Remedy's pharmacy behind Good Samaritan. And there's a lady there named Ruby who told us that she submitted to public health an application. She's willing to work with public health in Guam. And to this day, they have not received that application back. So the people with Medicaid, because we didn't have any money to purchase his medication because he's under Medicaid, I had to go back to the hospital and I begged the nurse to please give him medication until we get to Guam. So that's another issue, that it is not covered, not for Medicaid. So that's one thing they should look into also, right? Public health, yeah.
Great. Thank you very much for being here and for sharing your experience. You have the governor's representative here, and he's, all these concerns are, I'm sure, duly noted. But what I'd like to do is perhaps schedule a meeting for next week, Wednesday, with everyone here, so that we can establish this working group to analyze the services being provided, and then moving forward, perhaps have a more clear picture on what needs to be, what our people need, and what we could provide based on the resources available. But considering there is a timeline, so I'm sure that's something that you've noted and we'll keep behind your mind as well, right? So it's Wednesday next week, 2 p.m. at my office, and everyone is welcome to join us as well. Okay. Yes, 23rd.
Oh, I forgot one thing. When we were leaving to come back to Guam, it wasn't Tina that picked us up. It was her sister, who's not even with GRMO. She picked us up, and I'm telling you, we made it to the airport in about 10 minutes, I believe. But I was just braking because she was just weaving in and out of traffic. But it was her sister that picked us up to go to the airport. It wasn't Tina, the representative.
Okay, so and there's really a lot of things that I think options that we can take a look at. I mean, with this writing app that's available now, they even have it in the Philippines, and this is something that I think could as an option could be looked at as well. I've always talked about perhaps using some of the resources here in and giving it based on what is already being allocated per person in these areas, maybe a direct voucher like what Good Sam does. They provide vouchers, and this is at your expense. It's Good Sam's expense. Okay, so at that meeting next week, would you happen to have any information on how much it is that you provide and how many you've provided to Guam families?
Yes, we can absolutely provide that information.
Okay, great. And then also the list of services that St. Luke's provides, if we can get that ready by next week, Wednesday as well.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, because that's also provided to even to non-insurance patients, right, from Guam, people who are self-pay.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Okay, and then we'll make sure we'll invite public health as well, so the MIP and Medicaid patients can be represented as well. Great. Okay, Vice Speaker? No? Go ahead, you can. No, you're good. Senator, you're good. Okay, Senator Duenas, you're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just think I want to reiterate, I think this would be important since the providers are here. Maybe this is something we're going to have to create with the medical referral office is how many of those that they're intaking, are they referrals that are also insured and part of the insurance package going forward, so that we understand, if we do decide, Senator, to look at, how we beef up the services and how we change that, maybe it is with the agreement with the providers in terms of to what extent they're going, and then those who are really kind of there on their own. I mean, that's what it sounds like, folks, and I'm sorry, it sounds like more you were there and you're on your own and you need the help more than anything else. So I think we have to establish what are those that are coming directly to the medical referral office, because they're getting out there and they don't have the luxury or the accommodation of a lot of the prearranged opportunities. For those who are truly those that are there and they need the direct service because they're kind of dealing with medical, and they don't need logistical issues. So I think that would be a good, and maybe we can ask the contractor or whatever it goes back to, that should be part of the process to know who are there that are really in dire need of these services, because they're really on their own. So thank you very much, and I'm going to go back and get that information as well.
Great, thank you very much. Yes, ma'am?
Just to let you know, at that time when we got there from October to the, what time did you get? Around 2-3 months. End of, about 15 families. The time that we came in October to the time that they left, that was 15 families that were there. So like we stayed the longest out of the whole group.
Okay.
Yeah, I know there's more groups, there's more of us. It's just that they won't be able to make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. So we can refine the information we have for Wednesday, and can we make sure you sign and place your emails so we can develop that group and put out reminders before Wednesday. Great. Okay. So with that being said, we'll adjourn this informational hearing at 3:56 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you.